All right, and let's finally wrap up the Euthyphro. So remember, I went through the rest of this at the end of the last video pretty quick, so I'm going to do a little bit more here right now. But roughly, we have this thing they're doing in the Euthyphro. They're just discussing all of these different definitions, and it's not really clear how that's going to lead you to the objective truth about anything. It's not clear how just having this conversation is going to lead you to the correct definition of, say, piety or any other virtue that you're interested in. Right, so Socrates must be doing some type of process of elimination here, right? He's eliminating all of those definitions which either aren't definitions or lead to contradiction, right? Any definition that has sort of inconsistency or a flaw needs to be eliminated. But there are so many problems with this without more information, right? So given that we're imperfect rationally, we could be looking at this list, right? And we could say, okay, what the gods love equals piety. And say we both agree, right? You and I agree that this is the correct definition, but it turns out we were wrong. Really, we should have seen the problem that Socrates saw. So we would end up settling on a definition for piety that in fact is lacking. Or it could go the other way, and maybe it's number 6, right? Maybe we've stumbled upon the correct definition of piety, the universal definition, the objective truth about piety. But we are both imperfect rationally, and we both find a flaw with definition 6, and so we eliminate it from the list, and so we end up eliminating the truth because we're flawed. Or it could be that there are infinite possibilities. So I've only listed 6 here, and I really didn't list anything down at the bottom, just examples. But it could go on infinitely, in which case, how are we ever going to complete this task? Right? The process of elimination would be a process that would take us an infinite amount of time, or we just have to get extremely lucky and stumble upon the correct definition early in the process. And then finally, what if there really is no correct answer to find, right? So Socrates has given us a process for finding the objective truth, but he hasn't yet proven that the objective truth actually exists, right? So this could be a process that leads us nowhere, and that would be a shame, right? So we need more information, right? With what we know so far just from the Euthyphro, this process really doesn't make any sense. I know how it works, but I don't know how it's supposed to solve the problem. So what could Socrates have had in mind, right? How could this process of elimination be at all successful at producing knowledge about the world, at producing the objectively true definition of the virtues that he's looking for? Well, Socrates believes that we already have the knowledge, or he has to believe something like this, right? So Socrates believes that we all already have this knowledge within us, and it can't be eliminated. So if we can eliminate the inconsistencies in our belief, right? If we can eliminate all of the bad definitions by revealing the contradictions in our beliefs, like he's doing in the Euthyphro, then we'll be left with that truth that can't be eliminated, that we all already have hidden deep down in us. Right? So the idea is that we all have all of the true beliefs about the virtues, but they've sort of been covered up by our other false beliefs that we've been given by our experiences in the world and by our education, so on and so forth, right? There's a bunch of beliefs we have that are false beliefs, and they're sort of covering up the true one. So if we could just get rid of all that crap on top, if we could just eliminate all of those false beliefs, then all we would be left with is the one true one that we already had, that we already know, that is sort of innate within us. So obviously there's still a lot of questions you probably have, which you should, but notice that if this is true, this gets us out of a lot of the problems I just mentioned, right? So, yeah, we're imperfect rationally, but we can see contradictions pretty clearly, right? And so if we have a true belief innate within us that we cannot eliminate, in other words, because we'll never find a contradiction with us, it will be so clearly true, right? Then we won't be able to eliminate it, and we'll find a mistake in all of the other sort of false beliefs lying on top of it. There might still be an infinite number of possibilities, so that's a problem, right? We could have a number of false beliefs covering it up. But given that we have to acquire our false beliefs from the world, the false beliefs aren't innate like the true beliefs are, the true belief about piety are, we aren't going to acquire an infinite number of false beliefs. So we only have to eliminate those false beliefs that we have acquired in our finite time on earth, right? So although in theory there could be an infinite number of possibilities to inspect, in practice there will be a finite number of possibilities to inspect, since the false beliefs we've acquired through our time on earth. And then the last problem still stands, right? 4 still stands. He's assuming we already have the knowledge and it can't be eliminated, but he hasn't proven that yet. And so that's going to have to wait until next week, where Plato tries to fill in that part of the process, right? So he's going to present us with the theory of forms, and that's going to prove that, well, at least it's going to claim that we already actually have this knowledge. It can't be eliminated, and he's going to give us a theoretical backing and arguments for that, whereas Socrates is just sort of assuming that it's true at this point. But that's what he has to have in mind. So he has this process of elimination, and the process of elimination through this discussion type of thing he's doing in the Euthyphro would only be successful if we already have true beliefs about the virtues that can't be eliminated, and all we need to do is get rid of the false stuff on top of it. And that is it for the Euthyphro. Thank you so much, everybody.